Pelgam. Hashim Musa, a Pak army regular. Hunt for Pelgam butchers intensifies. Top focus on NewsTrack.
Good evening, you're watching NewsTrack here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. This evening, as we get you all of the updates on the hunt for the terrorists involved in the Pelgam terror attack, we're also going to be decoding for you the clear link that's been established between these terrorists and the Pakistan army. The fact that you've got the mastermind of the Pelgam terror attack directly linked to the Pakistan army was a part of the Pakistan army. We're going to be getting you more on that, even as reports are coming in on the Pakistan army chief. Where is he? Seems to be MIA at this point, missing in action. We'll be getting you all of those updates. Here are the headlines first. Prime Minister Modi chairs key security meet with Defence Minister, NSA, CDS and Tri-Services chiefs. Sources say forces given operational freedom on India's response. Horrific new video of Pelgam massacre. Another video of zipline emerges. Moment when terrorists fired on tourists captured on camera. Politics erupts over Congress's headless Gayab poster jibe at Prime Minister Modi. BJP says Congress dog whistling for Muslim votes. After backlash, Congress now deletes post. President of India appoints Justice B.R. Gavai as the next Chief Justice of India to take charge from May 14th. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal Party celebrates stunning win in general election. Prime Minister Modi congratulates Carney. Amid endless questions about what India's response will be, how will the Modi government hit back at Pakistan after the Pelgam terror attack? There's a clear message sent out by the Prime Minister to our forces, saying they have 100% complete operational freedom after the Pelgam terror attack. Essentially, the message is this, that our forces can act in whichever manner they deem possible as a response to the Pelgam terror attack. Now, this happened in a meeting that the Prime Minister chaired. It was a high-level security review meeting which took place at his residence. The Defence Minister, Rajnath Singh, NSA Ajit Doval, the Chief of Defence Staff. You also had the Army Chief, General Upendra Dwivedi, and also the Navy Chief, Air Force Chief, all present for this meeting. So it was a high-level security huddle. Now, sources say during the meeting, Prime Minister Modi granted full operational freedom to the forces to decide their response on the mode, the target, the timing, all of it up to our forces. This is the Prime Minister's message on India's military response to the Pelgam terror attack. Prime Minister Modi also reaffirmed, reportedly, the nation's resolve to deliver a decisive blow to terror, saying he has complete faith, complete confidence in the Indian military. Let's bring in Gaurav Sawant, who's joining us live from our newsroom with more really on the message that the Prime Minister has put forth. Gaurav, good evening. What do you make of the Prime Minister's message, Gaurav, when he says that forces have complete freedom, and he has full faith in them in responding to Pakistan?
Akshita, the timing of India's response is the most crucial aspect now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's body language, the body language of the Raksha Mantri, the National Security Advisor, the three chiefs and the CDS. Very clear indication that India intends to respond. And when you see some of the responses, whether it's holding the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, it's already having an impact in Pakistan. Their Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar has said this is an act of war if the water is actually held. Now remember, Pakistan is predominantly an agrarian society, and if in the sowing season in May and mid-May, early June, they don't have water, adequate water, they'll be in trouble. That's point one. Point two, in monsoon, if they have surplus water or excess water, then there is added trouble, especially when India is not going to share information. Should Pakistan, not act against India-centric terror, which it hasn't so far. So that's only the beginning of action to be taken. Look at the kind of military exercises that Pakistan Air Force is carrying out from the northern areas down to Karachi through Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab province, and of course in Sindh. It just goes on to show Pakistan is very apprehensive that there will be an aerial response, and whether that happens at the LC all along the international border, it's moving its forces closer to the border in terms of its radars and air defense system. So perhaps this is the government assessing how Pakistan is responding to whatever India has said and what India intends to do. At the line of control, again, the LC is hotting up. There are frequent exchanges that are taking place on either side of Pir Panjal. So in the days and weeks ahead, we will see the intensity of India's response.
You know, Gaurav, also on the fact that we're seeing all of these meetings happening. Today, you had the Prime Minister in the security huddle. There was also a meeting with the RSS chief, Mohan Bhagwat. And tomorrow, 4 meetings that the Prime Minister will chair. How do you read into that? Do you think that, this is perhaps meetings before something big is planned, before something big is coming?
If you hear the Prime Minister's statement, whether it was in Bihar, where he said, आतंक को जड़ से मिटा देंगे, उसकी मिट्टी में उसको मिला देंगे, to what he said today, full freedom to deal a decisive blow to terror, the indication is India is not talking about Lashkar-e-Taiba, India is not talking about Jaish-e-Mohammed, India is not talking about Hizbul Mujahideen. It is the state sponsor of radical Islamist terror, and that is Pakistan Army. All indications, the target remains Pakistan's military. So whether it's certain garrisons that are taken down, whether it's certain installations in Pakistan that assist its war fighting capabilities or its ability to wage war against India, whether that is taken down, whether it's a single force operation or a multiple force operation. And India is also keeping in mind, look, there will be a response from Pakistan. We've seen that in swift retort. They responded, but then their response was very measured. Also, there's a lot of intelligence input that Pakistan does not have the kind of weapons and ammunition that are required for a prolonged engagement. So perhaps there would be an initial engagement now. It may escalate. There would be a response from Pakistan. Then India will respond at a place and time of our choosing. So can Pakistan sustain it for long, or will it think that it's better to get rid of people like Asim Munir, who are the, that military jihad complex who spearheaded? They are the problems. It remains to be seen how Pakistan responds, because a lot of this would be very dynamic depending on how Pakistan responds to India's actions.
One thing is very, very clear. In light of all that's happening in India, you've got Pakistan completely rattled. They don't know what's going to hit them. So they're trying to ensure that they have, backup plans, a plan B in place for whatever happens really as far as India's retaliation goes. Thanks very much, Gaurav, for joining us with those details. What I was referring to earlier with Gaurav was the fact that you're going to be seeing back-to-back meetings taking place. Today, Prime Minister met with the top security officials, as you see there, and then you also had the meeting with the RSS chief. Tomorrow, Prime Minister Modi will be chairing the Cabinet Committee on Security. Top Modi ministers will be a part of this meeting. This is the second CCS meeting that's taking place after the Pelgam terror attack. Is this a sign of something to come? Well, remains to be seen. But right after that, the second meeting that the Prime Minister will be chairing is a Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. Again, in this, you'll see an extended cabinet present, ministers present. Those who weren't a part of CCS will be a part of the Political Affairs Committee meet as well. This too, the Prime Minister will chair. Then you have the Economic Affairs Committee, the Cabinet Committee for Economic Affairs, also coming together for a meeting, the CCEA. Now, key economic decisions will be taken. Why is this crucial? Because for Pakistan also, India is looking to ensure economically too, Pakistan is punished for backing terrorism. Now, there's also the Union Cabinet meeting, and this is important. Why? Because it's the first cabinet meet that's taking place since the Pelgam attack last week. And again, of course, as always, the Union Cabinet huddle is chaired by the Prime Minister. So that meet too is taking place tomorrow. You look at all of these 4 meetings, they're power-packed. They have all of the biggest ministers, and of course, the Prime Minister is chairing this particular meet. So it's led to a lot of buzz that at the end of the day tomorrow, in 24 hours, once these meetings conclude, are we going to be seeing some big announcement by the Indian government? We'll watch out for that. But let's get you a news break coming in. Now, the Congress's controversial Gaya post on social media, the one of Prime Minister Modi, which they had shared, and a headless image, which led to the BJP lashing out to the Congress, it's been deleted. The Congress has deleted it, and sources tell us that the High Command is extremely miffed over that particular post. Many deemed it unsavory. You had Congress leaders actually coming out and defending it. But now, after the High Command's intervention, that post has been removed. Currently, the social media head for the Congress is Supriya Srinath, and she's been asked to delete that post. She was also reportedly pulled up for putting up this kind of a post. The top leadership reportedly is upset because they believe that these kind of posts on social media is out of party line. And so they've put, in fact, their foot down on this issue, believing that these kind of posts are in bad light, throw the party in bad light, and is unsavory. So the leadership has made it very clear that they are unhappy with these kind of posts being put out. It's now been removed 24 hours after being posted on the official Congress handle. It's now been deleted after all of the outrage over that particular post. And interestingly, you had Congress leaders even defending this particular post on social media. Now, the top leadership, the High Command, has stepped in, saying we will speak in one voice on this issue. From having to cut off some of their leaders for the kind of comments they've made, distancing themselves from those remarks, to now social media posts as well. The Congress High Command is left firefighting. One comment after another, one controversy after another. Okay, let's focus now on the aftermath of the Pelgam terror attack. 7 days on, the hunt continues for those 4 terrorists who carried out the strike in the Besaran Valley on innocent Indians, on these tourists. So let's tell you about what's been revealed really by agencies. Fresh intel reveals that the mastermind of the Pelgam attack, Hashim Musa, is actually a former Pakistan Army regular with elite combat training. Sources say, therefore, he's using military tactics to actually dodge capture. We'll break down all the details in our report.
The sketch of terrorist on your screens is that of Hashim Musa, a trained Pakistani army commando sent by Pakistan to butcher innocent tourists in Pelgam. Hashim Musa was a regular of the Pakistan army and is trained in armed combat. Agencies believe that he and at least 3 other terrorists shot innocent tourists in the head from point-blank range using M4 carbine assault rifles. Investigators believe that Musa, with an expertise in unconventional warfare, survival tactics and mountain combat, has so far been evading one of the biggest manhunts launched by the armed forces in the jungles around Pelgam. The hiding terrorists have so far stayed away from villages, even for food and water. The NI investigation has revealed chilling details of the horrific Pelgam killings. Investigation revealed that 2 of the terrorists were in traditional Kashmiri ferens, while 2 were seen in tracksuits. According to eyewitness and survivor accounts, terrorists split the tourists into Hindus and Muslims, asking them to recite the Islamic verses or the Kalma. The ones who could not had fire opened on them, especially from the Hindu community. The initial investigation report that India Today has exclusively accessed reveals 2 terrorists shot at fleeing tourists right at the exit gate. Most of the targeted killings were at the local tea and the Bhelpuri stall near the exit and entry gates. After the massacre, the terrorists fled into the forest areas after the attack and jumped over a boundary wall.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Meanwhile, this viral video could prove to be a crucial evidence for the National Investigation Agency. The zipline operator, who was caught on camera chanting Allahu Akbar while the gunshots are being heard, is under the NIA lens and has been called for questioning.
आपने पूछा अपने भाई से ये कि जब जीप चला रहा था तो नारा क्यों लगाया?
सर जी वो पूरा कन्फर्म नहीं है क्योंकि उनको जब वो आवाज़ आई है वो इसी के लिए आ रहा है। उनको पूरा पता भी नहीं था। वो जिपलाइन जब राइड कर रहे हैं तो वो उनको छोड़ रहा है क्योंकि उनको खुद भी पता नहीं है। आप वीडियो में देख लीजिए एक बारी सर, क्योंकि वो बेक खुद ही जा रहा है, बेक वो खुद आराम से बैठ के है वहाँ पे सर।
अच्छा
जी,
जब मेरा लड़का और मेरी वाइफ नीचे पहुँच गई, मैं जिपलाइन में बैठा था, तब फर्स्ट फायरिंग हुई थी और आफ्टर 20 सेकंड के बाद मुझे पता चला कि नीचे फायरिंग हो रही है और लोग मर रहे हैं। तो फिर जैसे मैं नीचे पहुंच गया तब मैंने देखा कि मेरे वाइफ के सामने 2 लोगों को रिलीजन पूछ के गोली मार दी है।
One question remains. How long before India brings the Pelgam attackers to face law for killing 26 innocent people? With Arvind Ojha, Mir Farid and Kamaljeet Sandhu in Jammu Kashmir, Bureau Report for India Today.
Okay, let me introduce here on NewsTrack Sushant Surin, Senior Fellow of ORF, Strategic Affairs Expert, who's joining us on this broadcast. Sushant Surin, good evening. Thank you for your time. You know, the fact that there is a clear Pak army link to these terrorists isn't something new. We're talking about right now Hashim Musa, who carried out the Pelgam attack, being an ex-commando of the Pakistan Army Para Forces. But he's not the only one, is he, Sushant? Tahavur Rana was someone who was part of the Pakistan Army as a doctor. You had Major Iqbal, a key plotter of the 26/11 attacks, was an ISI officer. You had Rahman Pasha, again 26/11 Pak Army officer, Sajid Mir, a Pak Army officer. So that list is long, and it clearly shows the direct link between these terrorists and how they were trained very, very well by the Pakistan Army.
Yeah, Akshita, that list is very, very long because there was this dreaded terrorist called Ilyas Kashmiri. He also had served in the Pakistan Army at one point in time. And there have been others who were then involved with the Al-Qaeda who had Pakistan Army links. And in fact, even the attacks which took place in Pakistan at one point of time, when their naval base in Karachi was attacked, had a Pakistan Army link. So Pakistan Army and its flirtation with terrorism, in which very often what has happened is that while the Pakistan Army was trying to control the terrorists, a lot of their own officials also got turned by the terrorists and actually made common cause with the terrorists. So this has been happening for the last almost 30 years now. Again, it should not surprise us also because when the Jammu attacks happened, given the way those attacks had taken place, there has been a lot of analysis of who were the people behind those Jammu attacks, whether it was in Riyasi, whether it was in other places. And the conclusion that was being reached is that the way the ambushes had been mounted, the way these guys disappeared, the kind of discipline they showed in firing, meant that these were regular soldiers. These are not TRF guys. Mostly the TRF fellows have been, local Kashmiri guys who are fronting for the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Pakistan Army regulars, irregulars, ex-soldiers who come in. The TRF guys work mostly like, agents or guides and stuff like that. Their own actions have been mostly limited to killing unarmed, civilians, somebody who's working in the field, somebody who is a tour operator, somebody who's sitting in a shop, somebody who's a construction worker. So these TRF goons feel that, they are showing a lot of masculinity and jazba-e-jihad by going and killing unarmed people. But the real horrific killings have inevitably been carried out by the Pakistanis, especially the Punjabi Muslims who are recruited by the Pakistan Army, because let's face it, the Pakistan Army also does not trust the Kashmiri. If you hear what the Punjabis in Pakistan, especially from the Lashkar-e-Taiba, and I've seen this myself, or the Pakistan Army, the words which they use, I can't use on your channel simply because, then I'll get doxed and cancelled. But you extremely derogatory words for the Kashmiris. So I don't think they trust the Kashmiris completely, which is why they have to send in their own people.
You know, look at what the Pakistan Army chief said on April 16th, days after which you had the Pelgam terror attack. So right now there's all of this buzz, Sushant, that in light of Pakistan being extremely scared that there'll be retaliation from India, that there's a possibility they'll get rid of Asim Munir as the Pak Army chief to kind of, you know, make India, assuage India's concerns. Do you see that happening, that Asim Munir will be shown the door, almost as if an indication by the Pakistan administration that, look, we'll keep India happy and we won't expect any sort of retaliation or strike?
I don't think immediately that's going to happen. I think if maybe, you know, some kind of action is taken by India and then things hot up a hell of a lot between the two countries, and then there is a lot of pressure on Pakistan, perhaps at that point of time, the Pakistan army might, ask the chief to step down. As of now, I think this is partly wishful thinking and partly speculation. I don't see an easy, path to remove the Pakistan army chief at this point in time, especially because the ISI and all the other fellows have been drumming up support. And one of the reasons for this particular attack was that the moment it leads to a kind of Indo-Pak standoff, the Pakistan army, whose name is mud, whose popularity has reached a nadir, nobody likes them, people joke about them, people lampoon them, people mock them. Their stock has suddenly risen in Pakistan. And this was one of the objectives for this attack, that, the Pakistan army wanted to raise its profile, rally the country behind it, because whether it was Sindh, where they were being abused for their plans to green the deserts and make Sindh into a desert, in which Bilawal Bhutto and his father were totally backing the Pakistan army until they realized that their own political ground will go. In Balochistan, the army's name is mud. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the Pashtuns say that, the entire terrorism in that province is because of the Pakistan army. So that is the reputation the Pakistan army has. But suddenly you see over the last week or so, you see how the stock of Pakistan army has started rising, how the media has been trying to drum up support for the Pakistan army. So I think as of now, to expect that Asim Munir will be asked to quit, I don't think that will happen. And even more importantly, do you think India will be satisfied just with the head of Asim Munir? I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Of course not. There's no question of India really settling down just because of Asim Munir being pushed aside. But there is a revolt that Pakistan and the Pakistan army is staring at right now, which Sushant Surin, you also spoke about the fact that, there is a growing anger and a sentiment against the Pakistan army that they're trying very, very hard to combat right now. Thank you very much, Sushant Surin, for joining us here on NewsTrack with your expertise really on what's really playing out right now in Pakistan. And the fact that there's an undeniable link right now of so many terrorists to the Pakistan army, including a clear imprint of the Pakistan army in the Pelgam attack as well. But let's just break down for you the big powerhouses of Pakistan, who perhaps also have a say on these terror attacks in India. Asim Munir, who we've been talking about, is the Pakistan army chief, and just days before the Pelgam terror attack, made that comment about Kashmir being the jugular vein and made anti-Hindu remarks as well while invoking the two-nation theory. He made these comments on April 16th. April 22nd, the Pelgam terror attack took place. And the message seemed to be very clear that he was signaling support to terror proxies. And the Pelgam attack clearly couldn't be carried out without the Pakistan army's tacit support. You look at how they were armed. You look at how these Pakistani terrorists infiltrated into India. Now, we're also seeing right now increased activity around LOC after Pelgam and the instructions of Asim Munir. Let's talk about also currently who is the ISI chief of Pakistan, another powerful position in Pakistan. It's currently Asim Malik. He is the Director General of the Inter-Services Intelligence. This was a position interestingly held by Asim Munir previously. So Asim Malik is overseeing Intel Ops. The ISI plays a big role in infiltrations, in choosing just the right time, in helping terrorists cross over into India. So along LOC, it's this man who is ensuring that terrorists are aided. So covert support to terrorists, he's the boss of that. He takes care of that. He's also advising on Pakistan's next step. How should they respond? Now with India clearly upping the ante, figuring out what our response is going to be to Pelgam, how will Pakistan choose to respond to that? Asim Malik decides. Also overseeing disinformation ops against India. You see this very often, digitally and otherwise. A lot of fake news, disinformation, communally sensitive remarks being made. All of that is being done at the behest of the ISI. Let's get to the other big name, Khwaja Asif, Pakistan Defence Minister. The same man whose social media accounts are now blocked in India because his statements shape Pakistan's official response. And you see all sorts of loose cannon statements from him. So it tells you a lot that this is the man shaping Pakistan's official response as well. He's warned of an all-out war against India. Empty words right now, rhetoric that you can expect from Pakistan, and has also denied, of course, as expected, a role of Pakistan in the Pelgam attack. He's called for global intervention, saying that the need of the hour is for countries to step in this particular matter. But no country really has. Let's talk about the Pakistan Foreign Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, Ishaq Dar. Now, he's publicly denied Pakistan's involvement. You see a very typical script playing out here with all of these leaders. They all deny involvement in the Pelgam attack. But at the same time, this is the very man who called the Indus Pact suspension as an act of war. He also hailed the Pelgam terrorists, referring to them as freedom fighters. Let's get you the main man, the man in the high seat. Shehbaz Sharif, the Pakistan Prime Minister, announced retaliatory diplomatic measures against India, tit for tat, which was expected. India was fully prepared for it. Has referred to Pakistan's link to Pelgam as completely baseless. Like I said, typical script. Vows to also protect Pakistan's water rights at all costs. So that was the official statement that came in from the Pakistan Prime Minister. Now let's just put the spotlight for a moment on the Pakistan Army Chief, Asim Munir. He's got a very interesting tenure, not just now as the Pakistan Army Chief, because it's under him that now you've had the Pelgam attack and 26 tourists have died. He's currently the Pakistan Army Chief. Interestingly, it happened just days after that comment that he made and those anti-Hindu comments where he also referred to Kashmir as the jugular vein. In 2019, when the Pulwama attack happened, when 40 CRPF Jawans were killed, guess who was in charge? Asim Munir. He was then the ISI chief, the ISI DG. So clearly there, you join the dots, you see one common link in some of the worst terror attacks that have happened here on Indian soil. That link is Asim Munir. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of NewsTrack. Thanks very much for tuning in. Coming up on the other side of a very, very short break, World Today with Geeta Mohan.
Motorola Edge 60 Fusion. Edge out the ordinary. Motorola Edge 60 Fusion. Edge out the ordinary.